Brian Lilley with TheRebel.Media. I don't think I'm the only person in the room that, listening to you talk about the benefits of the lower dollar, thought it's almost like you're cheerleading or happy that the dollar's low. And on Western ears, where they are dealing with the negative side of the economy right now, that may sound like, oh, another Eastern or Central Canadian just saying good, things are back to the way they should be. You want to respond to that? Are you cheerleading for a lower dollar?
Well, certainly not. So, you know, I have no influence, none of us do, over price of oil. And I've just said that the chart between oil and the Canadian dollar looks like a pair of train tracks. And so if the price of oil is down and we somehow have to adjust to that, we are fortunate to have a flexible exchange rate regime which helps the economy to adjust to that shock. But it is not a panacea, as I said. It doesn't cure everything, and it's certainly not something to cheer for. We would, of course, prefer that oil prices be a little higher, because that's an important export for Canada, and that Canada would then be earning more through its export activities, and it would be, of course, better for the regions that are bearing the brunt of this shock. The exchange rate really doesn't do much except a minor shock absorber to that shock. That shock is simply one that we have to bear and work our way through. So it would be, you know, I would say that's a mischaracterization, as you outlaid.
You did mention that it could help manufacturing in places like Ontario or Central Canada.
Yes.
Since the dollar went up, there have been a number of changes in specifically Ontario. Energy prices, non-oil energy prices going up dramatically. We're looking at payroll tax increases, several other factors. Do you expect to see a return of many of the jobs that did leave for a variety of reasons? Do you expect Ontario to gain that much back over the next little while in terms of the manufacturing sector?
Well, we're definitely seeing signs that that manufacturing exporters are benefiting from these conditions and growing their sales, as I mentioned some of the categories in my speech. But the idea that somehow everything that was there before would come back is a bit of a stretch. What has to happen, in fact, as I did discuss in the one of the questions, is that it's usually growth in new companies, which will fuel the growth in that other 80% of the economy. Yes, existing companies will have more sales and they'll invest more and create more jobs. That's the natural transmission of this process. Those companies were cutting jobs 5 and 6 years ago because the dollar was so high. So in some sense, those will be return stories, okay, recovering from a difficult situation for them. But the real story will be, are we generating new companies, brand new jobs? That's where the lion's share of new employment is created. It's by brand new companies. It's where productivity comes from. And that process slowed to almost nothing during the crisis and the few years after, where the data we show in the Monetary Policy Report last October show that process of building up, again, the population of companies in Canada has resumed. It's early, and we hope it keeps up. But that's the part that will replace some of the losses that happened back then. And so you have every reason to think that growth will fill in that gap which emerged. But it's not something like a mechanical thing at all. And it's certainly, again, going back to your earlier question, it's not why you think of the dollar being lower as a good thing. What is lower is it's helping the economy to adapt to a reality, a new reality.